So, yesterday I was thinking after I released that I'm gonna start this channel, like, will I have enough to say? Will I know what I want to talk about? I was like, it will actually make a very nice first episode, to talk about our fears and our insecurities, particularly with stepping out and doing something different that we've never done before. I remember in 2017, I started a blog, and I was blogging because at that time I was a bit frustrated with my career. I was frustrated with what I wanted for myself, where I was spiritually. Like, I was not sure if I was in tune with my spirit. There were many things going on in my mind and my emotions, and I was just struggling with just stability as a person. And I started the blog, and I think I wrote about like 4 or 5, if not 6, pieces of writing that I shared with people, and people actually received it well, and I was shocked that people were receiving it so good and so well. And I was like, okay, this is it. But then I left it, and yesterday when I was talking about picking up and giving ourselves endless restarts and restarting as many times as we want, I thought of my blog and I went to read it. And the last post I made, it was actually written on the 2nd of October 2019. When I shared this post in October, it's my birth month, I had made a commitment to blog every single day for 31 days, because my birthday is on the 31st of October. But I didn't finish those 31 days. I only blogged only 2 days of October. And funny enough, the last post on my blog was sent out on the 2nd of October, and I think it sets the tone for today's episode. The blog post says, it's titled, "So What If You Are Scared?" Last night when I published the first post committing to 31 days of journaling, I closed my computer and wondered, oh shucks, what have I done? What if I run out of things to say? What happens when my laziness gets in the way? What happens when I'm genuinely busy and it slips my mind? What will people think? Maybe I shouldn't have made the announcement. I should have kept it to myself, at least even on days when I struggle to release a post. No one will know or hold me accountable. I began to wonder what it is about public declaration and accountability that taunts me so much. Do I struggle with self-confidence that making public declarations make me feel exposed? So what if I'm exposed? So what if I'm a little scared? So what if I don't yet fully believe in myself? We all preach progress over perfection, but somehow we have this internal standards of perfection, both self-imposed and projected by society. I wonder how liberating it would be if I could go about my day without wondering if I live up to the standards I set for myself, both publicly and those engraved in my mind, not worried if I will fall or succeed. Success, yes, is the ultimate goal. And yes, it is normal to think about the possibility of failure. I wonder if it would make a difference if I was focused on just today, doing what I can now and deal with the good and the bad as it goes. Maybe we do fear letting people into our process. Maybe we fear how people will receive our evolving version. Maybe we fear how people will receive our first draft and an unedited work of art. Maybe being visible to self starts with being okay with being exposed while we are a work in progress. And yes, so much is required to handle an unfinished piece of work, but visibility requires vulnerability. And in the words of Breno Brown, visibility is the highest form of courage. So I think this literally sets the tone for this, because I was like, I'm so scared. What if I don't know what to say? And I kept asking myself that so many of us, we go about our lives scared about what people will think of us. We don't want to be visible. And yes, we are visible in filtered spaces. We are visible on Instagram, behind the filter. We are visible in the posts we make, but sometimes we are afraid to be visible to ourselves first, right? We are afraid to let people see who we are, and sometimes we're even afraid to see ourselves for where we are in our lives and what we want for ourselves. So I was like, most of us do not actually go about and chase our dreams because we really are scared. And not that we're scared about the dream, we're not scared about the magnitude of the thing we want to chase after. That's not what scares us. I think what scares us at our core is that people will see us and people will know us and people will have an opinion about what we do. People will have a platform to critique or have comments about things we do in our lives, and that holds us back. You know, I was actually thinking about even my very first job. My very first job post my internship. I worked at Cocta, and where I was working, I was leading the communications portfolio for a new program, a flagship program of government that was piloting urbanization in the country. And I remember I had to do my very first newsletter as the chief editor of that newsletter. I had to write and edit and make sure that everything was well. I sat with that newsletter for 2 weeks before I submitted it to my supervisor at the time, who was my boss. He was the chief director of the unit. And I sat with him and I was like, no, I'm just working on it. And I remember he knocked on my office and says, Makungu, please bring that thing. We are due, need to submit it. I was like, no, I'm still fixing here and there. I'm still tweaking it. I'm still making sure that things are fine. He's like, you've been sitting with this thing for over 2 weeks now. You can't tell me you are still trying to fix something. It's been 2 weeks. Just submit it and let's see if there are any comments or questions or any ways to improve it. And I was like, okay, I'll send it, And I eventually sent it. But before sending it, I wrestled with myself that, what if he doesn't like my writing style? Or what if he doesn't like what I wrote? What if he doesn't like the newsletter in itself altogether? And I remember a friend, my best friend and I were talking about this, that sometimes you're not a perfectionist, right? So you sit with things and think, I'm just being a perfectionist, I want it to be so perfect, dot all the I's and cross all the T's. Sometimes you're not a perfectionist. You just have imposter syndrome, that people have an opinion about your work. And it's hard to bring something to someone for them to critique and have an opinion, because somehow we've made their opinion about our work an opinion about who we are. So we are scared to say, okay, here's my work. I mean, that is in a professional space. I could have just said, you know what, I'm done with this assignment, on to my next to-do list. Submit it to my manager, he checks it and then gives me feedback. But somehow you internalize the feedback that you even get in the professional sense, and you make it so personal that I was sitting with this newsletter not because I didn't know what I had written, and not that I was working on any new ideas or any creative ideas that I wanted to make it better. It's just that I was so afraid that he would have comments, and I didn't know how to handle the comments and the feedback. And sometimes, to be honest, in our lives, we sit with big ideas and big dreams and big things, not because we are trying to be perfectionists, not that you're still trying to buy the equipment, not that you're still trying to find the right time to do whatever dream God has called you to do in your life. Imposter syndrome in you is so afraid that people have an opinion about your work. And because in society we have not learned how to differentiate between the opinion of my work and who I am. If after he has critiqued my work, it says nothing about who I am. I will still be Makungu who I am, whether the work was good or bad. But somehow, as a person, I have not done the internal work of separating that the critics people have about my work is not who I am. I need to draw a distinction between how people view me and who I am at the core. And because we don't have the ability to go around and telling people that this is who I am, this is who I am, this is who I am all the time. You don't know that because they don't know the full version of you, you don't know how they're going to receive you. And it's so unfortunate that you can't think and tell people that, oh, this is who I am, and engrave it in their minds. You don't have that luxury, You honestly do not have that luxury. I mean, I cannot go around my life and saying, before I do anything in the world, and saying before I apply for a job, before I try a new relationship, before I go on an excursion, before I do something, and say, guys, remember, I'm a good person, I'm virtuous, I love God, my life is like this is who I am. You don't have that opportunity or that ability. And you need to know that you cannot stop your life because people who will have opinions about you. They will always have opinions about you. And in your life, you need to learn to do things even when you are scared, right? And I think with being scared, it's also important to find why you are scared, or which areas of your life or which parts of who you are triggered by the thing you're trying to do. I was saying when I started this podcast, the biggest thing is people have an opinion of me, right? My opinions won't be popular all the time. My opinions won't be what people think of me. Also, there's a version of me people think they know, but it's not that. That's not the version of who I am. And I cannot tell them that, guys, sorry, you have the false version. You have version 2. You've not upgraded to version 5. I don't have that luxury of telling them that Makung has now grown. Makung has now evolved. My ideas have changed, So that people I grew up with back home in Guyana who might think, oh, this girl who was like this and this and this. But I cannot keep myself hostage to the ideas that they have in their minds. And me trying to live up to the standards of things that they have in their minds, and pause my life altogether. So I think the whole point is that as we go about our days and our lives, to try free ourselves from this bondage of people having opinions about us. It's okay, people will talk all the time, but it's also okay to find your why and your reason for doing things, because if you do not know that, it's easy to fall in the trap of the comments of people always coming and getting into you. And I always say to people that I care what people think of me. People say, I don't care what people think of me. Oh no, me, I'll just take my, like, I'm just doing my own life. I'm one person who cares. And because I'm honest that I care about what people think, I've had to live a life where I've built boundaries within my space, within my mind, within my soul and my spirit, that because I do care what people think, I must care to a particular point, because if I care all the way, my life will pause and my life will stop. So for me, because I'm a people's person, I'm a people pleaser at heart, and I'm working on it. It's a toxic trait, but I'm working on it. But I really care what people think of me. But that must not stop me to live my life because I care what other people think. I need to move beyond what people think and say, what do I want for myself? I kept thinking that I'm 29. This is the last year of my 20s. No, I'm not yet 20. I'm still 28. By the way, I'm still 28 and I'm embracing being 28. I'm only turning 29 in 2.5 months. So I have to embrace what's left of my 28, because it's actually daunting to think that I am turning 29, which means it's my last year of my 30s. No, my last of my 20s before 30s. And I'm like, but why did I put so much pressure on myself that in my 20s I should have done 1, 2, 3? It's because I care. I care about the dreams I've had for myself, and I care about what people think of me. I care about what I've put out in the world, what I've committed to myself. And therefore I need to live my life with understanding that even if I care, I must ask, so what if I'm scared? I think the whole point of this episode today is that you go back and you start thinking to yourself and asking yourself the hard questions that, so what if you're scared? It mustn't stop you from reaching your dreams or going after the things that you want, whether they make sense to yourself, number one, to others, to where you are in your life. It doesn't matter. Even if you're scared, you do it anyway, because to be honest, fear doesn't go away. There's a favorite poem, let me find it quickly, by Titi Lope. I love her so much. She's a poet that I really love. There's a poem of hers. Let me find it for you quickly. It's called Bones, right? It says, centuries from now, when archaeologists shake the dust from your bones, let them marvel at this thing called courage. Let them still find traces of brave and beautiful. When they rearrange each part of you, hold you piece by piece against the light, give them something to marvel at. Let their history books say, here lies a woman who knew that fear is just a growling animal without teeth. So you will be scared. You will be scared. So don't ever think, but I'm scared. So what if I'm scared? You will be scared. The answer is you will be scared. But I like the last part of that poem. It says, Here lies a woman who knew that fear is just a growling animal without teeth. It doesn't have the teeth to bite you. The fear and you being scared is not so big and so humongous to stop you from going after the things that you want. You will be scared. You will be scared to go after the kind of love you wanted, the kind of dreams you want, the kind of career you wanted. I mean, I even think about how sometimes I'm thinking of career pivoting, and it's scary for me to think, okay, but I've built my life like this. I've accumulated so many degrees in this area of my life. I'm scared. I'm tapping into an area of my life where I'm not sure whether it will yield to any positive results, whether it would be fruitful or not. But you will be scared. It's not about not being scared. I think the whole point of life and what I'm learning, I don't want to say in my late 20s, but what I'm learning as a person who's alive on this earth is that most of us wait so long and we postpone the things that we really want in our hearts so much. And you know what the funny thing is you are the only person who knows what you really want. So even if you achieve the greatest success in your life, you are the only person who knows what, number one, you really want, number two, what your potential is. Sometimes, I think when I left Instagram, it was just right after my graduation. I mean, it was my 4th graduation, and I felt, yes, second master's degree, I'm the it girl. And people were commenting. I remember the last draw for me was when some fashionable education thing, make education fashionable page, something like that, posted me, and I was like, okay. They were like, yeah, black woman, what, girl from Guyana. And I was like, okay, I'm appreciating their applause. But in my core, I was like, I know there's more. I know there's more for me. And I'm scared to go after the more. And because I was like, let me pull back. Even people's good intention and good applause can make you pull back from going after the more, because you think, I've achieved all I've ever wanted to achieve. I've achieved at the level of success that people think this is the ultimate bar. This is where the bar ends. But even if you are the first of whatever in your lineage, whether you're the first of whatever, you know at your core the dreams that God has placed in your heart. You know in your heart of hearts that this is not for me the ceiling. It's just the floor, And you will be scared to go out and saying to people that this is not the ultimate for me. But do not stop because you are scared. Do not stop, number one, because people are applauding you. I think the whole point is for us to start thinking about fear in a different way. Live with it. Learn to be comfortable around fear. I mean, I have stories for days, from how I applied for my first job to where I am today. Every single thing I was afraid. But you don't let fear stop you, right? And I think that post on my blog, it's so ironic that it was in 2019. And I've stayed 5 years. How many years from 2019? 20, 21, 22, 23, 23, 4 years. So technically almost 4 years when I thought I want to blog, I want to start having this tapping into this new area of my life. And I stopped after day 2 of trying. But you don't stop. And it's so ironic that the last post I made was, what if you're scared? And I was scared. And I guess I dropped it because I was scared. And I think I'm going back because I am scared. I'm scared of living a life that's not fulfilled. I'm scared of living a life that one day when I die, I had not done the things that mattered to me, right? One day when I died, I'm scared that I will not have gone after the whispers of my heart. I'm scared that one day when I die, I will not have tried to chase the dreams that I had, the dreams that only I know about, the things and the urges and the callings. There's a post I saw that says, the calling never stops calling. No matter how much you postpone it, no matter how much you're scared, the calling will never stop calling, right? So the things that you want to do will never stop calling at your heart. It will never say, hi, now we are done. This one, we've been trying to ask her to come and do this for so long, she's not answering. It will never stop calling. So I think, because you know that, save yourself from the pain of living in regret and do it scared anyway. So anyways, that was today's episode. I'm still scared I have to sip to calm down. Guys, my parents are gonna watch this now. And just a disclaimer, this is, you see, I'm scared because I care about people's opinions about me. I have to make a disclaimer. This is just a nice drink to calm me down. Nothing, it's just, it's just fancy. Just fancy. But anyways, I really hope that you take this conversation between the two of us. This is a conversation between me and you, letting you into my fears, that I am scared. To be honest, I'm scared about this new journey. I'm scared about trying something different in my life. I'm scared about stepping out, but my life would not be as meaningful if I don't go after everything I've ever wanted. And I come from a family that has always encouraged me to go after every single dream that I have. And I always told people that I don't think there's anything I ever desire that I don't think I'll ever attain. I live my life with the belief that the things that I want also want me. The things that I dream about, God placed those dreams in my heart, right? And even just by my name comes from Jeremiah 29 verse 11, which means, I'll say it in my language because I can understand my name. It says, Makungla mangana wona for wena. Aya kukulobisa kamya kukumelerisa kukunyika bomzuku lezinene. So I believe that. I believe nothing beautiful is in my past. No relationship is in my past. No amount of money, no amount of opportunities in my past. So I need to step into my future, even when scared to step into the unknown, because I have that belief in my heart that every single thing that's beautiful, that's better, that's more lovely, that's greater, is in my future, So I am scared about this new journey. I'm scared about many things in my life. But also I'm sure you are also scared about many things in your life. You have questions. Some of you are now applying. It's application season now, August, September, application season for 2024. Some are applying for university, some are applying for new jobs, new adventures. It's a scary time for many people. But do not stop because you're scared. I think you owe it to yourself to try and do it scared anyway. We always hear this fancy quotes of, I know you're scared, but do it anyway. It's a nice quote to say, but living it's a different story. It's hard. It requires you to constantly remind yourself that I know I'm scared, but I'm gonna do it. I know I'm scared, I'm gonna do it. It's fine. So I'm just calling and saying, do it anyway. Don't say it, do it anyway. I know you're scared. I'm scared about this journey too. I'm scared about many things, not even just this podcast. I'm also scared about many things in my life. There are many dreams that I have, many things I want to try. And I'm also scared, but I'm trying to tell myself that being scared is not enough to stop me from what I want. I'm robbing myself of a greater good. I'm robbing myself of a greater future. I'm robbing myself of better. If I think today is good, it can get better than this. It can get better than today. And the only way for me to see that better, only me to step into that better, is to step into scared. I want my children's children to know that there was one lady who was always scared, but she tried. And she did it scared. So yeah, I'm scared that you're all gonna watch this. But anyways, thank you guys. Don't forget to like, comments. Let's have the conversation. Let's keep the conversation going. As I always say, that this conversation doesn't end between the two of us. You take it and you talk about it with your families, with your friends, with your loved ones. Make it pillow talk, Talk about it in your taxis, everywhere you are. Just have the conversation about what you do if you're scared. So if you have any questions or comments, comment on the, I don't know which side of the box it will be, but somewhere. Leave a comment and subscribe. And yeah, let's just do it scared. So what if you're scared?